All right, you guys. So tonight we're going to talk about negotiation. And if you can, I want you guys to take notes because ne being able to negotiate can make or break a deal. And the better you are at negotiation, the more money you're going to make. And we negotiate with the motivated sellers. We negotiate with cash buyers. We negotiate with contractors. Um, so a lot of what we do is a negotiation. We negotiate with each other. Um, Dane and I have negotiated with each other. He always wins. Um, but it's being in real estate and real estate investing is about a negotiation. And so you cannot be afraid to negotiate. You cannot be afraid to speak up. I always like to say I always speak in a I was taught to speak in like on a third grade level. I kind of lower my tone. I always try to bond, and we'll go over all these things tonight. If you guys have any questions along the way, please stop me because this is important. And I also think that part of negotiation is understanding and learning what you do. And in most cases, I'm talking about like the numbers, the math, like understanding the math, but really understanding the options, the strategies, and just understanding like where you are and what you're doing will help you with negotiation. So, when negotiation is the key to getting the best real estate deals, whether you're wholesaling, flipping, buying, and holding, your ability to negotiate determines your success. In this class, you'll learn proven negotiation secrets that will help you close more deals and maximize profits. And so you guys notice the two gentlemen here are shaking hands. I like to make an offer and then offer my hand out. Try to get them to shake my hand to secure the deal. It's psychologically a handshake. And I learned that the hard way. I was wholesaling a deal about 3 or 4 years ago, and it was either Bolton, I think it was Bolton Hill or Reservoir Hill. And it was one of those big, I call them the big ladies, one of those big brownstones that was a three-level multifamily. And I had it under contract. I had a verbal wholesale agreement with another guy for $20,000. Oh no, $25,000 actually, or $20,000. It was $20,000. And I took another gentleman over there to take a look to try to get more. And he took a look at it and he said, I'll give you 20,000. I said, no, I already have 20,000 on the table. And he stuck his hand out and I shook his hand. And psychologically in my mind, secured the deal. And I gave him that deal. And I felt bad ever since. And that was a few years ago. I even remember the guy's name, but he got me on the handshake. And so I want you guys to make offers and try to secure your offer with a handshake. You stick your hand out. And once you get into some negotiation, you'll see, can we secure this deal? Can we meet halfway and just start sticking your hand out? The number one rule, you guys, in negotiation is building a rapport or bonding. You've got to bond um, with the other person. People do business with people they like. They've got to know you, like you, trust you, and you have a very, very short period of time for them to like you and trust you. Very short period. So you've got to bond. You've got to figure out some commonalities other than real estate that you can talk about, whether it's sports, geographic locations, religion, travel, whatever it is, figure out what you have in common, talk about that as a way to bond, then you get down to business. You've got to make them feel comfortable first. And so you talk about their background, your background, ask them what they do, what they did. Try to get to know them a little bit. And then you've got to listen and and just be empathetic to their situation. Because in most of the situations that we run into, not all, but most of them, they're distressed for one reason or another. We've got to solve problems, and that's what we do, and that's how we make money. In any business, you're a problem solver. And so if you get good at solving problems, figuring out solutions, you're going to make a lot of money. We were in a negotiation yesterday on a property, and I was just throwing out all kinds of different scenarios to the point actually Akio was with me, and it was a property on, I forget the street now. I forget the street. North Capitol Street, I think. And it just really wasn't a deal, but I was like, I got to figure this out. Like, I got to figure out what I can offer. And so when he said that he owned the property free and clear, okay, now the first thing that comes to my mind is he owns the property free and clear. Maybe he'll do some type of seller financing. Maybe he'll do that. Maybe he doesn't want the capital gain that he's going to have to incur if he sells this property to somebody else. He's going to have to pay capital gain taxes on the money. Maybe if he waits and takes money over a period of time, I'm just thinking in my mind, that could be an ulterior or alternative solution to his problem. So I'm just trying to solve his problem. And he listened to me. I think he was kind of being polite. I reached out to him today with no answer, but I'm definitely going to follow up. But that's what we do. We try to solve problems. And in a lot of cases, we cannot, but that's what we do. We try. And then it's about, the more offers we make, the more opportunities we have to be successful. And so in a negotiation, you guys, secret number one is the power of silence. So we want to talk less and listen more. So talk less, avoid talking in negotiation. Once you bond with them, what I like to say is, do you have an idea of what you want to sell the property for? And then I sit back and listen to what they have to say. I want them to speak first in a negotiation. So I stay silent because I want the power. I want them to do all the talking. I already have an idea of what I want to buy the property for. I've done the Mayo formula. I've done it in my mind. I've looked at the property. I already know coming in what the ARV is. I've looked at the property, so I know what the repair cost is. I've done the Mayo formula. I have an idea of what I want to sell the property, buy the property for. So I'm waiting on them. Now, if they, so I'm waiting on them to tell me exactly what they want. And so I'm also asking all the right questions. And I've done a handout for you guys to know what questions to ask. But so the questions are, why do you want to sell your property? That's one of the questions. When you're negotiating, why do you want to sell your property? Are you distressed? Are you behind in the mortgage? You want to ask the right questions and then sit back and listen to the answers. Because once you find what their motivation is, like why they want to sell, now you can just zero in on that and just talk about that. Do you have a place to move to? Is it important for you to sell the house fast? You want to ask those kind of questions. And then, are you behind in your mortgage? So you really want to know if they're distressed. And so once again, once you know the answers to those questions, now that's all we're talking about. The right questions uncover motivation and give you leverage. Now we're speaking to those questions. Using the yes ladder. And so we want to psychologically, we want them to get in a pattern of saying yes. We want to get in sales, we want to ask questions that's going to get whoever we're negotiating with in a pattern of saying yes. So psychologically, if they're saying yes to these simple questions, they'll say yes to the offer we're making. You want to sell this property, right? You prefer a quick and easy process. Answer is yes.
Greg, you know what those are called, right?
What are they called?
Tie downs.
Tie downs? Okay.
Yeah, tie downs. That's what they're called. Where you get them to say
Yeah, yes, yes,
most
yes.
tie downs, a lot of times when you use a tie down, it ends with NT, like doesn't it, wouldn't it, and all that. That's how you sort of back somebody into those tie downs.
And just get them used to saying yes instead of used to saying no. So you want to ask those questions to get them to say yes. And then eventually those yes, then you ask, if I could make this hassle free for you, would you be open to an offer? And then hopefully they say yes, and then you make your offer. A lot of times I'll say, you have an idea what you want to sell the house for, they'll make me talk first. They'll say, well, you give me your offer, or I've got a couple other offers. Then I'll ask, oh, may I ask, what are those offers? And if you ask politely, they'll generally tell you because they want you to make a higher offer. And then either you can make a higher offer or not, or you give them maybe a better offer or something else to think about.
Hey, Greg.
Go ahead.
No, I started making calls on my like DC call list, and there was an owner who's like, I'll never sell, and then she hung up the phone on me. For someone like a lead like that, is that something you would follow up with via like a postcard, or is that someone you just kind of like put in
No,
on your list
I
to
would
keep
definitely
going?
maybe she's like in 2 weeks or 30 days to follow up.
Okay.
She's on that list. That's an AI generated list.
Mhm.
And so she's on that list for a reason.
Okay.
And so sometimes they're in denial
Mm,
or they're waiting on a miracle.
okay. Okay.
And so I would definitely follow up. 80%, you guys, if you guys are taking notes, write this down. 80% of your success in sales, 80% is going to come from a follow-up. It's coming from following up. 80% following up. Hattie and I talked 3 or 4 times. She had numerous questions before she decided to come into the coaching program. And many of you guys I followed up with. You guys were on my hit list. Followed up, follow up, follow up. Akia was at the bitter end. She signed up at the last hour, the bitter end.
11:59 p.m. Yeah.
Follow up. Alicia. I think Alicia beat you though by seconds, Akia. Alicia
Wow.
at the bitter end, but it was all like follow up. 80% of your success, and this is the toughest part, whether we're talking about negotiations or sales, calling, whatever. The hardest part is sometimes we can get you guys to make the calls. The hardest part is having a system that's going to help you with the follow-up. Because you think, okay, I made the call, that's enough. Write this down. 80% of your success comes over time, right? I remember, Dana, you had a property in like, I don't know if that was called Fairmont Heights. Wasn't sort of Capitol Heights. Remember that property we went and looked at this, I think it was this past summer?
Yes, yes, yes. Or 60,
60
60,
something.
60 or 64. Yes, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yes.
How many times did you follow up with him?
Several times, but I was dealing with a wholesaler who really he didn't have it under contract.
Oh, at the end, he never had it under contract?
Right, right. And he was having a hard time. He told me he was having a hard time getting in touch with the owner. So that I realized that he didn't have yeah, he didn't have access.
But
That
even the gentleman in Forest Heights, remember we wholesaled the one in Forest Heights a couple years ago?
yes.
He may have been your classmate or something. Like
Yes.
everyone we do is just a follow-up. Just keep following up,
Yes.
following up. And that's what's keeping you guys from being so successful is the follow-up. And even with the negotiation, you've got to be willing to walk away if the deal doesn't work. You've got to be willing to walk away because we're not buying bad deals, but then follow up. Like the gentleman I talked to yesterday, he had two offers. One was a great offer, to be honest with you. I was like, dude, they're giving you 410. You need to take that. But then you just never know. So you follow up. Maybe they're bluffing, maybe they can't close. You know,
Right.
you just follow up because you just never know. So
And Greg, you have to kind of hold the line too, because sometimes you have to let it play out, and sometimes it's not going to work out. You can't get discouraged. You got to keep moving to the next one, but you got to be able to hold the line because several of the ones that I've done, it took a lot of doing. It took a lot of, I had to hold that line like I was, like I was fishing, and it was a tough one. And I had to, and several of them were just like that. And it took time. But
it,
some of them just didn't work either. And that was you can't get discouraged, is what I'm saying.
and so what I like to always say, you guys, is just creating a hit list. And then you just keep going back to the hit list and just keep, because the people on your hit list are the ones that you're going to make money off of. Not necessarily ones that you're calling for the first time. It's the ones that you're calling for the second and third. I remember some probate deals I've done in the past took a whole year of following up. Then they were finally ready. And so that's what you guys have to do. But again, you've got to get them to say yes. The anchor technique, start with a lower anchor offer so the final price feels like a win for the seller. And so if they get you to speak first, we want them to speak first, but they might say, well, you're the investor, make me an offer. If my number, I've ran the comps, I know the ARV, I see the repairs. My number is say 300,000. I'll buy it for 300,000. In my mind, I'm buying it for 300,000. After repair value 600,000. If I want to buy it for 300,000, that's my MAO, and they make me speak first, and I have to speak first because they're requesting it. I'm not going to offer 300,000. I might offer 250. I'm going to offer 250, and then again be quiet and see what they say. I'm offering 250. That's my offer, and I'm standing on 250, even though in my mind I'm good at 300. So we got to start with that as an anchor, and then we let them talk. Now, the easiest thing is let's say that we're at 250, but in our minds we're at 300. They come back at 400, 350. Now, the easiest thing is, Mr. Miss Seller, can we meet halfway? Now go up to them with my hand. Can we meet halfway at 300? Whether 300 is halfway point or not. I'm at 250. They say 400. Can we meet halfway? Hopefully, can y'all see me? Hopefully.
We see you.
Oh, can we meet halfway with my hand out at 300? Can we meet halfway? That's easy. Now, if I'm at 250 and they come back to me and say 300, now in my mind I'm at 300, but my anchor is 250. I give them one of these. Well, you're at 300, I'm at 250. Can we meet halfway at 275? Now I'm $25,000 better than I want to be. They don't know that. I'm like, y'all watch, can y'all see me? I'm like,
Yes, we can see you.
can y'all see what I'm doing right now?
Yeah.
Rick, I don't know if I can do it like you do it.
You have trouble
want
with
me-
your neck, Greg?
You want
Have
me
a
to
neck
do it
problem?
again? Did I do
Yeah, I
that
don't
too
know if I can
fast
do
for
it
you?
like you do it. That's pretty good.
Did I do it too
That's
fast
pretty
for you?
good.
See, y'all missing the point. Y'all missing the point. I'm hemming and hawing because we don't want to show any type of excitement, right? We don't want to show emotion. But deep down inside, I'm jumping for joy because
But
I've
we
got
want to show some pain though, right? We want to show a little bit of pain though, right?
that coming down. They're at 25. I mean, they're at 300. I try to get them to come down another 25. There's a little bit of pain there. We don't want too much pain because we're already winning. We're winning better, but we do need some pain. I'm glad you brought that up. We do need some pain in every negotiation. It can't be easy. It's got to be a little bit of pain. If they say 300, I say 300. Is there any pain? And I've done that before. I've wanted, for example, 300. They came back at 300. I agreed, and it haunted me throughout the whole transaction. Throughout the whole transaction, I was just shaking my head. For like 6 months, I was just shaking my head thinking, damn, I could have
Could have
got
gotten better.
it. But for the whole freaking 6 months. Like I was getting ready to go to therapy. That's how bad it got me. I was getting ready to go to therapy. Damn, they got over on me. Matter of fact, I'm thinking about it now. Can we just end this meeting?
It's pretty serious.
I'm so upset right now. Can we just? I feel like I need therapy now. But y'all get the point about the anchor, right?
Yes.
We want to start off a little low and negotiate. We win. I'm joking a little bit, but we make our money when we buy the property right. Buy it right, pay it down, pay it off. We've got to buy the property right. And where most investors lose is buying the properties wrong. That's the number one mistake real estate investors make is they buy the properties wrong. We've got to buy them right. And so we gotta squeeze them a little bit of pain, but not so much pain that we lose the deal. All right, the takeaway method. Sometimes, for example, at 100,000, I'd have to remove all the cash offer and close in 60 days instead of 30 days. So we present an offer. We make an offer. Now in our offer, you guys, we're just not offering for money. Like I might offer 300,000, but I might also say we can close in 2 weeks. I might say just take what you want. We'll clean the rest of the house. You know, whatever trash is left over, I might throw that out there. I might, if I'm thinking I'm going to get a great deal, I might say, against my better judgment, I might even say, I'll pay for moving expenses. I might even say, I'll pay for not only moving expenses, but first month's rent and security deposit. I might throw all that out there so that if they come back and say, let's say I throw out 300 and they say we want 350, now I might say, oh, I've got to take away some of the things that I just offered. You guys get that? So I might have to take away some things. I can give you that, but some of these other things that I offered, I may have to take it away. They may not have money for moving expenses. They may not have money for first month's rent and security deposit. They may have a bill that I'm thinking, I can even pay that bill and it's still a good deal for me. I might have to take that away. So never ever when you're negotiating, just offer the price. You've got to offer a little more than that. And generally speaking, we say, just take what you want, we'll clean it up. No worries, we'll take care of that. Some investors offer moving because moving expenses is not that much, especially if you're getting a good deal. And so you want to give them as much as you can, not for the cost to go over what your Mayo is, but you want to be able to take away something.
So Greg, I have a question. Closing costs. You have got really annoyed with me about offering closing costs, paying closing costs. But my thing is that on these advertisements on television, your friends that come on television, they promise that. So a person has that in their mind. When you and I went over to Suit, that might be the last one we went to together, and the woman specifically asked, will you pay closing costs? And when the answer wasn't yes, I saw her countenance fall. I watched it. And I saw her emotion. So I'm revisiting the question, is it worth it to go ahead and do that if it's gonna get you the deal? Maybe you come out with $10,000 or $15,000 less if it's a decent deal, whatever the closing cost is. Is it worth that? I know it's depending on the deal, but I'm just saying if it's a good deal, we're paying the closing cost. It's still a deal, and you're gonna make your money. How do you feel about that these days?
I agree with you. I agree. Sometimes we, especially if we're competing against someone else that's paying closing costs.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got to match that. We've got to pay the
Well,
closing costs.
your friends have put things in in people's minds, and that's what they think because of what they've heard on TV, and that's what's in their mind.
I'll be honest with you, it very rarely comes up, but if it does come up and it still fits the formula, then yeah, go ahead and do that.
Okay.
So that's a good question.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Akia.
No, I was gonna say on your last slide, you had an X over like what not to do. And I didn't understand at the bottom.
Right here?
Yeah.
No, I don't think that's an X.
Oh, like a warning sign.
Well, it's just something that's this is just an
Oh,
example.
okay. I thought it was like a don't do that. Okay, got it.
All right, so we always want to create urgency. There's always got to be urgency. We want them to make a decision as quickly as possible. Sellers do procrastinate. Use urgency to get them to act. Scarcity. I have 2 other properties I'm looking at today. We want to say things like that. Give them deadlines. This offer is only good until tomorrow at noon. Competition. I have a partner who might take this deal instead. You know, you want to say things like that. Fear of missing out makes sellers act faster. And so you always want to create in any type of negotiation, you want to create that urgency. And the better you are at creating the urgency, the faster you can get them to act because they will procrastinate if they can. They will wait for other offers. The gentleman that we met with yesterday had 2 other offers. He was meeting with us, and then I think he said there's a 4th person that he was going to meet as well. And so he wasn't in a rush. And so we just had to try to create the urgency. And I was just like throwing stuff out there at him. But we've got to try to create urgency.
Was that an off-market deal?
Yes. Yeah, that was an off-market deal. It was a deal. He came from the list. From the list we give you guys, he came from the list. You're going to get a lot of objections. And so we've got to learn how to deal with objections. I need to think. And so this is the urgency. The objection is I need to think. I need to think about it. That's a polite way of saying no. And then you want to say, okay, what's holding you back? Is there anything that I can do to get you to say yes right now? What obstacles are in your way for you moving forward now? And then whatever those obstacles are, you speak to them and you try to solve them. I want more money. There's an objection. I want more money. My offer considers repair costs. It's going to cost me $80,000 to repair the house. And then sometimes I'll even go over the numbers. I'll show them the numbers. But then I'll also show them how, even though you want more money, this offer that I'm giving you, this is how it's going to help you. It's going to stop your house from going to foreclosure. You'll be able, because we're going to stop the house from going to foreclosure, you'll be able to buy another house in 2 years. If you need help finding another property, I know real estate agents will help you find another property. If I've got to write a letter for you so that the new landlord feels comfortable, like we'll do all of those things. Really in a way that no one else is going to do those things. And then some of the other things that I offered you, like you don't have to spend money, because most of the times they think they've got to clean out the property. No, you don't have to do that. I'll throw in moving expenses and things like that just to get them to a yes. But they'll say I want more money. Even though sometimes they don't have any better options, but sometimes they'll say that. And so you've got to know what to say when they say that, and all these objections are going to come up. Okay, to recap, you want to build rapport, ask great questions to get them to uncover what their real true motivation is. Have an anchor offer, be willing, and truly be willing to walk away. I mean, I've walked away. I mean, I walk away all the time if it's just not a good deal. We looked at a property a few days ago, maybe the weekend, I don't remember, or last week, where the ARV was about $1 million, maybe just a little over that. It was $1 million. She owed on the property $660. She owed $660 on the property. And the only thing that I could think of to do on that one was a novation, but she just wasn't open to doing, wasn't open to doing that. And she couldn't pay. By the time she paid closing costs, she just couldn't pay anything. So the 660 was her number. She had to have refinanced recently. So she had already pulled out her money because she had owned the property since I think she said 1960 something, 62 or something like that. And so I just had to politely walk away and say, I'll follow up if some of these other offers don't work out. And I will also tell you guys that in what we do, in most cases, they don't work out. They don't. But that's why it's such a numbers game. Like we've got to make offers, and we've got to make offers often, because we don't need a lot of them to stick in order for us to make a lot of money. Everyone does not have to stick in order for us to make a lot of money, but enough have to stick so that we can, and enough do stick. But we've got to be consistent. We've got to take action every day, you guys. And then we just have to get out here and make the offers. Create the urgency. I feel like there's one or two things missing. We talked about the pain. We talked about being willing to walk away. We talked about following up. We talked about the anchor. We do try to get them, as much as we do have an anchor, we try to get them to speak first. You've got to go in knowing your numbers. So when I go in, I've already done my research. So you've got to do your research before you speak to them, whether it's on the phone or in person. Do your research, know your numbers, because if it's on the phone, you can go ahead and make your offer. You don't have to see the property to make an offer. We can see the property later, and there's ways to get out the contract. But in terms of in terms of negotiation, I think I covered everything. Did I miss anything, you guys? Especially like Keith and Dana, those that have heard
No,
me.
Greg, I think it's good that you bring up the contract and submitting. I know I was talking to Hattie about that this morning. We want to submit the offers because we have contingencies to get out of the offer. So go ahead and submit them. They're either going to accept it, reject it, or counter. So yeah, we talked about that. I'm going to show my face a little bit, Greg, because there's one thing that you didn't do when you were expressing pain when you're negotiating, when you dropped that anchor. Because a year or so ago, you talked about rubbing your head a little bit, like you were a little disappointed. I don't know if you did that or not. I didn't see that.
I've kind of stopped doing that. I developed a rash right here, so I kind of stopped doing that. I'm joking. But I think to Keith's point though, when you are negotiating, you've got to have a poker face. Try to have a poker face, try to get to your number. Don't over negotiate and talk yourself out of a deal. Oftentimes investors talk themselves out of a deal. But make good deals. Always know that there could be somebody coming behind you. That's why when you're negotiating, you try to get them to sign that contract as soon as possible. I take a contract with me. If I'm in person, I take it with me. If I'm on the phone, I'm prepared to email that contract to them via some type of electronic signature, because I don't want to negotiate, wait 12 hours, 24 hours, and somebody else come behind me and make a better offer. Because they're going to tell them, well, Greg Bennett offered 300. So now all they got to do is go to 305 and they're going to win, and they're going to have a contract there. And so there's no such thing as, I'll send you a contract tomorrow. I'll send you a contract tonight. It's the weekend. I'll send you a contract on Monday. There's no such thing. Or it's a holiday. I take my contracts with me. I do them with me. And I'm ready. I'm prepared for them to sign the contract. I think I have a contract right here. I just do them real quick and just keep them on me. But that's also what you guys need to be doing. There's no hesitation. Let's get them locked up. Let's get these motivated sellers locked up, and let's close these deals.